Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's a new year, so that means more ESP Exhibition limited edition models. Check out this episode if you want to see what was going on for 2022, but let's see what they've got in store for us this year. The first for body style is known as the Snapper model. It's kind of a Stratocaster style guitar. Now the spec sheet says this is a Buckeye burl top, but I'd imagine that they put some additional coloring on it. But it gets carved away to expose the wood. And then it almost looks like gold leaf or something within there. I just love this whole exposed layer having like that really nice dark walnut vibe. Because if you look, our pickup covers are also wooden, which works perfect on a humbucker. This fingerboard's actually made of walnut, and just like the top features Buckeye burl binding. It almost looks like a channel bound neck, but it's not. But take a look at our inlays. It's an abalone center with mother of pearl surround. So you get kind of the best of both worlds. And then of course we've got ESP's logo on our headstock. But interestingly enough, when you switch over to the backside, perhaps there's 3 different layers of wood because this does not look exactly the same. Or perhaps the wood grain just looks a little bit different in that area. The rest of the guitar has some beautiful flame maple figuring on here and almost a Stinger-like design. So for me on this one, it's all about that bound fretboard with the cool flame maple neck and the nice wood grain on the back. The colors didn't necessarily excite me too much, but I like this next one. Now this one's a little bit more traditional as far as like a flamed maple top, but it mixes this whole walnut stuff going on everywhere. So you've got the same arm contour over here, but then you've got 2 different pick guards going on here. Both of them apparently made of wood, but different ones. They've got the jade knobs contrasting against the walnut portion, with again the covers over your pickups. It's an HSH setup this time. Looking at it at the side angle, you can kind of see what they were doing right here with the natural beveled edge of the green pickguard to match that. But now I feel like we need the natural binding along the edge. But look at our headstock. That one also has the same mixture of brown and green with the tuner tips and the head. I'm actually quite a big fan of this. Let's see the back. Whoa, almost the complete opposite. So we've got another little figured maple thing going on, but then we've got the exposed ash in some areas. I kind of wish the whole body was just made out of walnut because that would have made this thing perfect. The back kind of loses some style points in my opinion, but hey, that is some insane figuring, and they also did another little figured veneer back here. Next up, this is another snapper, but we've got too many strings on it. A 7-string for all you gentlemen out there. This time in a 2 humbucker setup trem system. Pretty much all the same stuff we've been seeing, just a different type of burl top. And we've got the return of our lightning strike, as well as the binding. But ooh, bird's eye maple neck this time. Kinda gives me supernova vibes. Next up, another 7-string, but basically just in a different color. But just like the green one, it's got the 2 different pickguard sections. No binding, this time 2 humbuckers. So it's kind of blended elements of all the other ones that we've already seen. But you know, I feel this one pulls off the whole exposed ash body a little bit better with their color scheme. Because you've got this whole natural burst on the neck, looking pretty good. And then your side angle shot pairs well with that on the front as well. So that's the 4 snappers. If I had to choose one, I'd probably still go with the green. Body shape number 2 is the M2. This one's got like a red into blue fade going on. It's only 6 strings. It seems relatively tame in comparison, but it looks like we're using a new wood for our pickup covers. The spec sheet calls it Honduran rosewood and fenno wood. Gives it kind of a reddish hue. We've got these really small block inlays on the edge. Once again, a combination of mother of pearl and abalone, with a natural flame maple binding. And of course you have to have a matching headstock with something like this. But whoa! This is why I made this video, because if you just looked at them at first glance, you would have missed something like this. We've got a little fish stream in the back. I would have never known to expect that. I like this thing a lot more now, especially the flame figuring that this particular piece of wood has back here. Then I'm not sure if that was painted or what they did back here, but I like it. I like it a lot. Especially when you find out it has a rosewood neck. Keep in mind, you've got that super flamed maple binding that we were talking about earlier. That contrasts beautifully. And I like how we have this layer of maple just randomly right there, right before the body joins to the neck. And of course, you've got the continuing theme of flame maples on the back as a veneer. But at first glance, this is my favorite one we've seen so far. It's an interesting purple explosion. You've got your cool burnt chrome pickup covers to complement that. And it's a full-on Floyd Rose system, so if you're into that, you're gonna love it. And then you get a straight-up ebony fretboard. Looks like this time we have 2 stripes of mother of pearl and only 1 abalone, and you get a matching headstock. But how about that back? Not quite as extreme. We don't have flame figuring all over. It's just a little bit more subdued finish, but I think that's perfect for this style. Our next M2 is vastly different because it's a little bit more carved. It's got this exposed edge. So we get a little bit of flame maple. We get the return of the darker wood covers. This time it's rosewood and streaky macassar ebony for our fretboard, but it also has the flame maple binding. But whoa, look at the neck on that thing. A little bit of flame maple, looks like some purple heartwood. According to the spec sheet, it's wenge and maple for the other layers. I don't know if those colors actually work, but it's cool. Then of course you get your back maple and headstock. But how about this? Oh, okay. So we got some more of the lightning strikes. Oh, and don't miss your finely etched brass pieces on the guitar either. But then a piercing white edge. That must have been a pain to paint. But cool, limba wood. That means it's a carina neck and a carina back. I think this one really stands out with the finish work that they did on the fretboard, and you got this skull guy trying to come out. And we got this nice golden binding. Okay, so you got a little bit of artwork. Is the back going to surprise us? Whoa. Yeah, in a different way than I was expecting. It's just pure white. But you do get a cool purple burst coffin back here. Our next body shape is known as the Arrow. Pretty much a flying V mixed with Jackson, but with the ESP branding. So this top kind of looks like a Brazilian rosewood, but apparently it's Japanese persimmon tree. And then you've got Honduran mahogany over here. Now that's kind of like a TV silverish finish, where it has some white grain fill with a black outer color. So that's kind of a cool vibe. Then you get your ebony fretboard with these really cool shark fin-like inlays. And of course a matching headstock over here. Whoa, okay. So it really is just a sandwich. You get your persimmon tree over here again, but it's the neck that is quite surprising on that. I like this whole checkered board design they've got going on here. You still see some of the mahogany going on, but then the rest of the neck continues as the rosewood, and then you get some more of your other pretty wood over here. Who knew persimmon trees could be so beautiful? Oh, and if you're wondering where the output jack is, it's hiding over here. Next up, this one's a little bit more extreme. You've got your gold resin going on with your burnt chrome covers. You have your return of your skeleton guy, also on your truss rod cover. And it's got that blinding silver / white finish. Let's see if the back is the same. Okay, they changed it up a little bit this time. We've got the neck looking the same. They also used the carina body. But you've got your little skeleton guy over there showing you peace signs. But this next one has a very unique design. It reminds me of that purple one, but this time with red, but yet it looks like flame figuring the way that they've painted it. I mean, the spec sheet over here doesn't say anything about a flame maple top, so that is indeed paint, because it's got the alder body with a hard maple neck. And those pickups have a very interesting vibe to them as well. You've got the ebony fretboard with abalone inlay, matching headstock. But ooh, dark navy-ish blue for the back with the brass backplates. I feel that complements the top incredibly well. I was kind of sad to see that there's only one Eclipse model, which is the closest thing that they make to a Les Paul. So the body is a sandwich, Clara walnut on the top and back with mahogany in the center with an Indian rosewood neck and an ebony fretboard. But we have this design going on the front to break up the flamed figuring. It kind of gives me nautical vibes. I think this is the reason I get nautical vibes from it, because that kind of looks like a compass. Metal pickup rings and covers and bridge and all that good stuff. And just like we've been seeing on some of the other ones, we have the continuation of abalone being mixed with mother of pearl with their flag inlays, which matches the headstock in case you didn't notice. Looks like we even get the gold fret wire, and we also have the continuation of our designs up there. And honestly, I would say I like the back better than the front. It's a little bit tamer. And I like how the design has to go over here on our back plate, and we get to see all the different layers of woods back here once again on our neck. You got a little bit of flame maple thrown in there for good measure, and you've got the design going up the neck. And here you can see just how thin this guitar is. I wouldn't say it's my favorite one of the series, but I wouldn't mind documenting something like this. Our next body shape is known as the Mystique. Mystique is right. We get some sort of a burl top over here, brass pickguard, wooden pickup rings, and then we get all these different designs on the fretboard. This one gets really busy, but you also have the flame maple binding and a matching headstock. But ooh, there we go. The back simplifies things a whole lot and looks fantastic in my opinion. The heel design looks a little bit clunky, but I guess if it works, it works. That's some really tight, wide flame, which would normally be a bit of an oxymoron, but I think you guys understand what I'm talking about. And oh wow, look at that on the side too. This purple quilt top, utilizing a similar design on the fretboard, is much more my style. Has a very Mystique look to it. It makes me appreciate the artwork on the fretboard more, because it's not quite as crazy, but let's see what they did on the back. Yeah, just left it pretty similar. The other one also had the walnut back of the headstock. It was just a little bit harder to see. But wow, that flame maple binding looks great. And also from the side angle profile shot, you get to see the exposed layer of maple, giving it a binding effect. Next, we have what is known as the FRX. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this body shape. It's a bit too extreme for me. This one looks like some sort of a virus that's multiplying, or heavy metal bees making a honeycomb. But we've got pretty simple inlays, once again being a combination of all the cool shell materials and a matching headstock. Purple neck for some strange reason. It looks like a mahogany back, matching flame maple back plates. Yeah, it looks pretty good, especially considering that the edges are a natural mahogany color. And then the other FRX here, a little bit of burl maple, you get a little bit of flamed on the edges showing. Kind of has that whole valley design theme that we saw from last year with a slightly matching headstock. But they did a similar thing on the back, alright, just a little bit more quilty and flamey. Not my favorite two pieces out of this series. But now we have the Raijin model. So we have the return of the skeleton flame guy. We saw this last year, and maybe it wasn't even new back then, but this time it's in color. And I think I like it better this year. You've got the red flames, you get your bone colors with the darker colors surrounding it. And it's a single humbucker guitar with a Floyd Rose. I mean, that thing has been made for one purpose and one purpose only. I love these cross inlays. That looks fantastic on this fretboard. But of course, you get the gold fret wire. Ooh, nice rosewood neck bolt-on for this particular model. And nice and dark back here. Like, they didn't go too crazy with the whole skull theme. Something about this side angle profile shot, though, just makes it come across as really cheesy, though. But ooh, would you look at that? Claro walnut for the body, but then the back is Claro walnut. I love typos on websites. They're funny. Our next Raijin dials it back a little bit. I like the angle on this quilt maple top over here. Then you get your little river running through, and then your skeletons dancing, having a party, doing their thing on your fretboard. I like the headstock shape. Wow. That is majestic looking on the back. That's one of my favorite necks we've seen this series. I like how we sculpt away to see the mahogany body. As much as I love guitars, I just like wood in general. That's why I like things like the Gibson M3 Deluxe series that layers woods very similar to these. It's just interesting to see what fine craftsmen can make. I'd say the side angle shot on this one actually sells it even more. But if a more evil golden hue is more your style, that's kind of where this one falls into. It's also a 7-string, but has the same design on our fretboard. Similar design for our neck. For some reason, it reminds me of chess, like a really fine chessboard. And then you get the continuation of the design back here as well. That burl maple top pairs very well with that mahogany back. And then lastly, for our regular instruments, we get the OM bass. That's not just any bass, that is a 6-string bass. I was wondering why those tuners were so giant. So if you need a 6-string bass with skeletons all up and down it, yeah, maybe this is your style. Oh, wow. I don't think the other ones did that. They have the inlays within the body. That's cool. So we get the burl maple top in this section, but then somehow they perfectly match the edges of that to be with this quilt maple. It's pretty fascinating how they did that. And the back, yep, it's just like the other ones we were looking at. Looking very nice. Almost Firebird-esque with a faux neck-through look design. But wow, look how far up that top actually is. They've got some extreme German carve going on there. And is the wood actually scalloped? Or is it just reflecting the light in a weird way? That might actually be a scalloped section. And now we've got our two crazy art guitars. Like last year we had that interesting wolf and skull guy. This year we've got this. It's definitely a feat in the woodworking department, but they decided to leave it in its natural state without too much coloring added to it. I like our humbucker, and our fretboard's pretty plain. Got a little curly Q up here on our headstock. Well, let's check out the back of this. Did they go extreme? Nah, they only did the top. But I guess to do the carving on the other side, it would probably have to be way too thick. I mean, we've already got our output jack on the back. It's all right, it is what it is. You're just meant to appreciate it for its carving. Because you gotta remember, this part sticks up a lot more than the rest of that, which means they had to have carved it down from something at least that thick. And the details on the guy is pretty good. Then our next one is slightly different of the same guy. Looks like he's got a giant bag. He's robbing a bank or something. I think ultimately, I like the other one a little bit better, but I like the design of this. I feel like the entire thing tells the story, whereas the other ones were just a bunch of like curly cues going on. This one, it feels it's more the guy, and the inlays stick out a little bit more as well, being the turquoise material. But the back is looking pretty similar, but you get some additional figuring in the neck. I'd be curious to see how much these things retail for and what kind of collectors are buying them. Alright Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed checking out the 2023 Exhibition ESP guitars. Let me know which one was your favorite down in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.